Hey, guess what? I'm streaming live again, sort of an impromptu, not announced. That's what that means. Just want to connect with the keto peeps out there and see what everybody's up to today while I have my delicious Show Me the Science coffee. In particular, I want to know if Facebook is live, because I think that my streaming key or something like that may have expired and I may have to get a new one. But let's see. If I go to Two Keto Dudes, and hopefully I'll see that we're live. Yeah. No, that was yesterday. So I don't know. Maybe not Facebook. We'll find out. Let's see if anybody shows up. Still connecting to Facebook. Logged into Twitch. Logged into YouTube. Looks like 15 people on YouTube. Let's see. Say something, guys. I got a new chat window. This is going to make for a boring video to watch later. Nobody shows up. Hey, there you go. Sonia McIntyre Handy just showed up on YouTube. Love your show and all the great teachings. Thank you very much. Thanks. Any questions? Happy to take your questions today about keto, fasting, cooking, whatever's on your mind. Hello, Claire from Texas. I can tell you what I did last night. Last night I went down to Keto Fest Central. Hi, Michael. At RD86, which is the kitchen downtown New London, right? Where Chef Robert is, where we did Keto Mini Fest last Saturday. And I experimented with some fried rice. And I think we're going to do a video on Thursday, a live video on Thursday from the kitchen doing fried rice. And I used Miracle Rice. I can tell you basically what I did, but we need to experiment with a couple of different ways to do it. Oh, there's a bit of noise. You know, I think I might know why. Let me see. Yeah, that's why. It's probably better now. There's a microphone boost. I didn't know if my microphone was working or not, so I boosted it up, and apparently I didn't need to. That probably sounds a lot better, right? Ooh, can I talk about fasting and potential muscle wasting? Hello. Can I talk about fasting and potential muscle wasting? Okay, so just so that you know, all I know about fasting is what I've done, and I'm not an expert. Excuse me, my nose is kind of itchy. I'm not an expert on fasting, but I have done it a couple of times. And Jason Fung and Megan Ramos are certainly the people that I go to for, to get their experience in clinic with fasting. So I can tell you what they say, and I can tell you what Jason says. First of all, we know about a process that we didn't know about just a few years ago called autophagy, A-U-T-O-P-H-A-G-Y. And it literally means eating oneself, all right? So it's the body's way of recycling proteins. You're welcome, Odelia. Odidia. Sorry. She said thank you. He said thank you. They said thank you. Not sure. So you have this process, autophagy, and it's a natural process that occurs all the time. It gets more intense when there's no food, and if you don't eat anything, you're going to get the maximum benefit from this. And what does recycling protein mean? In every cell, there are these little organelles and parts of parts of cells, little cell parts that need to they need to go away. They're unused. They're all used up, whatever they are. There are cells all over your body that have this, essentially aging mechanism, that these cells are sort of marked, and the body consumes them as protein. Now, how much, I don't know. I don't know the technical details about it, but I know that that's the first stuff to go, right? Now, there are people out there who say, well, if you fast, you're going to burn your lean muscle mass, right? And Jason responds by saying, why do we assume the body is so stupid as to do that? It's actually a very intelligent thing. Your body's intelligent. Why would it have a source of junky protein and fat, for that matter, to protein to recycle as protein and fat to burn for fuel? Why would it do that? Why would it attack healthy muscles? That sounds like it doesn't sound like the body working the way it should work. It sounds more like a disease, right? Like an arthritis, when your body attacks healthy cells because it thinks it's an invasive thing or whatever. Why would the body do that? So he uses a metaphor. Let's say all summer long and all fall you go out and collect firewood and you chop it up and you make this big pile of firewood, and then when the winter comes and it's cold, you throw the sofa on the fire, or you start chopping down your house and taking the wood and putting that on the fire. That doesn't make any sense. Why would the body do that? So that's what Jason says. People like Dr. Finney, Stephen Finney, he doesn't believe in autophagy. He has flat out said it. That he believes that the body wastes really usable muscle mass, and so therein lies the controversy. Now you look at Megan and Jason's results at IDM with their fasting patients, and they're amazing. They don't have people with loose skin, and they chalk that up to the fact that they're fasting. And as they lose fat, they don't have the loose skin, saggy skin that happens to so many people when they go on just a calorie restricted diet. Hello, more or less protein as we age over 65. Your opinions, science. So yeah, protein is something that we've all been talking about a lot lately, and autophagy and muscle wasting is sort of right in that line. If you sort of buy into this idea that autophagy happens and that it's not going to, it's going to spare the working lean muscle mass until the very last minute, right? Then you think that if I'm overweight, I probably have protein that needs to be recycled as well as body fat that needs to be burned, okay? And therefore, you need less protein. How much? I don't know. But you can get away with eating no protein by fasting. So explain that one, And this was the weird thing that when I first talked to Jason Fung, I asked him, I said, how can we have this ketogenic requirement for protein, 1 to 1.5 grams of protein for every kilogram of lean body mass, and yet we can fast and eat no protein? And his answer was autophagy, recycling. The body recycles these proteins, right? So therein lies the rub. I don't know how much. Jason seems to think that you can get away with 6 grams of, what is it, 6, no, not 1 to 1, 0.6 grams of protein for every kilogram of lean body mass, right? But I tend to think, and I think that's probably a good thing. I tend to think that you really ought to first look at whether you have excess body fat, saggy skin, whatever. You can fast, right? He says don't fast if you have 7% body fat only. It's not, that's playing with fire. If you have 7% body fat only, but you have saggy skin, I don't know. I'm not an expert on these things. All I know is that it seems that people who are overweight and have, junky proteins, in other words, they're not fit, they're not working out, have plenty of resources to support a fast without getting sick. Let's see. What do I think about resistant starch? I've never done any experiments on myself with resistant starch. I have no desire to try, because starch, whatever, just isn't palatable to me anymore. Is there such a thing as too much fat when you are in maintenance? This is from YouTube. Such a thing as too much fat when you are in maintenance. I think, and again, it's just going to sound like common sense, and I'm not an authority on this, but I just think it depends. I mean, if you're hungry, you should eat mostly fat, and if you eat too much fat, you're gonna know, because you'll put on weight, maybe you won't. I don't know. I really think you just have to pay attention to what your body is telling you, and if you think you're eating too much fat, try cutting down. What happens? Do you get hungrier? Do you gain weight? Who knows? So I think just do what works for you. And that's what Richard and I are all about, really. Just promoting the fact that you can listen to your body, you can trust it, and obey it. It knows more than you do. Thanks for the info. We'll read up on the subject. Yeah, anything by Jason Fung about autophagy or fasting, protein, that's basically what I told you is what he says. He says that if you have extra body fat, you probably also have proteins that need to be recycled. Just putting on my thinking cap, everybody has protein that needs to be recycled, but how much, right? So if you're lean with very little body fat and working out all of your muscles, like every one of your muscles is just fit, then do you have protein to spare to be recycled? Probably, but maybe less, So you therefore may need to eat more protein. And this is what I talked about the last time too. If you don't have protein and fat on your body that can be used, you need to consume it. So everything that your body needs has to come through your mouth, or most of what your body needs, right? Oh, this is a good time to mention the little blurb down here, right there. We are supported by fans like you, and if we've helped you, if we've helped you in your journey, and you feel like helping us, you can help us get to our goal, which is to do this full time as a job, and because it's not our full time job right now, we are funded by you. So definitely go to patreon.2keto.com if you can make a donation there. Even if it's a small donation, it would be very much appreciated. Thank you. I personally would like to do what I'm doing right now as my job. And I wouldn't like to take advertiser revenue to do it. That's one thing that Richard and I are very sensitive about. That's all for that. Anybody got any other questions? Anybody else want to brag? Somebody said they were, who is it? Odidia said, thanks for 2 keto dudes. 20 kilograms down and going strong. Wow, that's great. Excellent. Who's got a story? Anyone got a story? What else can I say? What about my story? I mean, you've probably already heard my story. My story is my phone is getting spammed. I don't know why. Yeah, so I was talking to Chef Robert last night down at RD86. We're going to start doing some cooking experiments live, like this, live. Have you suffered with sleeplessness? I seem to be waking very early. It's hard to get back to sleep without eating again. Question is, James, are you tired or are you refreshed? I found that, yeah, I sleep less, but I'm not groggy when I wake up. I'm full of energy. And if it's hard to get back to sleep, maybe you're awake. I don't know. It sounds like you are waking up tired, though. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a problem. Are there any recipes that you found? Oh, James says not groggy. Okay, so is it a problem? You get to sleep less? Oh, here's the story. Listening to you from Grenada in the Caribbean. Started keto January 12th, 2017 and lost 65 pounds. Well done, Gail. Don't seem to be able to lose anymore. Yeah, well, that happens. Any thoughts on maintenance, apps, macros, protein, need for fasting strategies, 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day? Marjorie says, 67-year-old woman lost 53 pounds in 9 months, loving keto and tweaking the macros as I go. Kim Hoover says, keto for over a year, down 45 pounds. My jean size went from a 14 to a 4. My husband lost 50 pounds. His jeans went from a 38 to a 30. Thanks, dudes. Awesome. That's great. Okay. The stall. Everybody hits a wall sooner or later. Nobody really has a definitive answer on this, but it seems pretty obvious that your body, that it's not willpower or a lack of willpower. And it also seems like there's very little that you can do to get through it besides fasting, intermittent fasting, and time windowed eating. And even then, it may take you a while to get through a stall. So my advice is just wait it out. You know, your body has put a stake in the ground and said, you know, that was great. We got some of this excess weight off. Richard Morris talks about the theory that your fat cells, and this is actually known, your fat cells get more insulin sensitive, and therefore you need to lower your insulin even more, because the little insulin that is getting squirted out when you're eating protein or whatever is enough. You know, it's enough to store the glucose from your liver in your fat stores. So you need to do things to lower insulin. And what is that? Well, we think certain artificial sweeteners, in fact most of them, spike insulin. I've never seen any science to that, but again, clinical experience Megan has with her fasting patients. If somebody's fasting and not losing weight, which is weird, the usual culprit is artificial sweeteners, because some of those raise your insulin without raising blood sugar. That's the theory. So that would be the first thing to cut. The second thing I would do, if you want to get in through a stall or test the waters to see if your body is ready to move on with lower insulin, is to have one meal a day with a generous amount of fat, right? Less protein than you're used to, and eat it all within an hour, and leave 5 or 6 hours before you go to bed. So that worked for me. Megan says it works for lots of her patients. She says I can get anyone through a stall by doing that, by doing the time restriction, more fat when you eat, and less protein, and then stop eating after that, and give yourself 5 or 6 hours before you go to sleep. So for me, that turns out to be 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 3 to 4 is when I typically eat. I could eat 4 to 5, right? And then go to bed at 11, midnight, that kind of thing. So try that. And you know what? If it doesn't work, you may bounce back. You may see some results, and then get lazy with keto again and eat more protein and eat twice a day or even 3 times a day, and you see your weight come back on. It's okay. You know it worked, and for some reason your body wants to eat more after that. Okay, just wait it out. Try it again. I feel like with the stall there might be some other internal healing stuff going on that your body is concentrating on for a bit, but I don't know. It's just my thoughts. That's from YouTube. Yeah, I kind of think the same thing. I don't know for sure, but it kind of feels like, because your body is defending that weight, it kind of feels like other stuff is going on. Now, I know other stuff is going on because I've been at the same weight, and yet I'm getting thinner. Like my pants are fitting, are falling off, right? I've had to go down a pant size and a shirt size since, for in the last year when I've installed weight-wise. So that tells me that I'm probably burning fat and gaining lean muscle mass. I am doing 1 meal a day, but have such a hard time enjoying eating all that fat. Suggestions? I don't know. Try cutting it back a little bit, and if you're not getting the results you want, you may have to hold your nose and eat it. I, on the other hand, have never had a problem eating fat. Heavy cream in your coffee, butter on your burger. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you could, if you could find, fat pills. I have never heard of any such thing, but, certainly, well, we know fish oil is good, right? And that's fat. You can just down a whole bunch of fish oil pills. You don't have to taste it. I don't know. I'm half kidding. I do shots of olive oil once in a while. Just pour a little salt on top, shoot it down, and now you feel like you're breaking the law. What else can I tell you? Okay, well, if there's no more questions, there's a few people that just joined. I'll give them an opportunity to ask a question, and then we'll call it a show. Yeah, olive oil shots. Yep. It has been done. Powdered MCT oils. Yeah. Gotta watch out for that stuff though. Disaster pants. But you're right. There are powders. Okay. I guess I'll go. Thanks for hanging out with me. We got about 31 people online. That's good. And I will probably see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.